Sound familiar? You may have met people like Rose with children like Mia, but in truth, they are fictional characters, created from the stories I hear every day from parents caught in the triumvirate of getting their child to eat right, ensuring they don't put on too much weight, and encouraging them to feel at home in their body. I know Rose and Mia's story intimately, not just from the parents I work with, but because I have lived it. I suffered from an eating disorder when I was younger. Like so many women, the pain of not liking my body had consumed a large part of my life. I knew the desperation of trying again and again to eat the right way so that I could finally become slim and stop worrying. The decision to start Monday made over and over again. The anguish of seeing myself in the mirror and feeling nothing but disgust. The programs and supplements I'd paid good money for and food groups I'd cut out in the desperate hope that this would be the thing. The belief that if I could only drop a couple of dress sizes, I'd be liked, accepted, successful, and admired, and life would be easier. It drove me to exercise until there was no room for much else in my life. Guilt and shame visited and overstayed every time I didn't put in the training or eat in a way I'd promised myself I would. Try as I might to get thoughts of food and weight out of my head, they persisted, making me feel out of control, embarrassed, and like I was fundamentally broken. Yet, from conversations with friends over the years, I knew that I wasn't the only one who had these experiences, even if it often felt that way. To say I didn't want any of that for my children was an understatement. After giving birth to them, soaked through with love and wonder and marveling at each precious new face, I promised, I will not let you feel the same way about your body and food as I have. Not on my watch. The problem was that when my children were born in the mid-2000s, I believed everything Rose believed. The key to a body-confident child was healthy habits taught young, with a generous side of praise for their gorgeousness. There was no question that healthy food would be a cornerstone of my parenting, and I thought that if I could ensure healthy eating habits were ingrained in my children as young as possible, they'd be set for life. If I did this, I mistakenly believed, it would inoculate them from the mental anguish I'd experienced in the pursuit of controlling what I ate and managing my body. It wasn't just about ensuring they avoided the pain of not liking their bodies either. I was convinced they'd be healthier and happier if I could guarantee they wouldn't get fat. They'd feel accepted and respected and avoid the many health problems that I'd been led to believe visited only bigger folks. It would also pin me as a good parent. Somewhere along the way, I'd internalized the idea that a child's weight was a mother's responsibility, and I took that responsibility seriously. I'd read the memos about healthy weight and the obesity epidemic, and allowed them to influence my actions. I may not have been able to articulate all that to you back then, or even admit to it. But in retrospect, many of the things I did as a young parent were driven by those beliefs. My children were still preschoolers when I noticed that simply providing healthy food didn't achieve the results I'd been told it would. My kids didn't like the nutrient-dense food I gave them, no matter how much time I spent chopping it into pleasing shapes, making star charts, or introducing rewards. They'd either eat nothing, or they'd fuss, moan, and beg, and then eat way beyond fullness in situations where I wasn't there to control them. Rather than happily bonding over shared meals, we battled. The most consistent outcome from my efforts was stress and anxiety for me and misery for them. Thanks to my commitment to healthy organic food, I bought as much as possible from the health aisle and spent more money than we had budgeted for on healthy options. But at a preschool health checkup, a doctor suggested that perhaps it's time to make some healthy changes.